They do, right? Zenu, what are you doing here? You're not letting Papa finish the video. Come here, no, be a good baby. See, everyone will say that Zenu is a bad baby. They will not like your video. Is that what you want? So let me start today's video by showing you a picture. It must be somewhere here. So please take a look. Please zoom. Please take a look. Now, if you actually go through the salary numbers, you will realize that these salary numbers are for non-profit CEOs. So CEOs who are working in the non-profit space and they are earning in millions. For example, if you take a look at the CEO salary of Kaiser Foundation, it is close to 15 million. If you look at Delta Dental Plan of Michigan, the salary is close to 14 million. If you look at US Steel and Carnegie Pension Fund, the salary is close to 13 million. Now you might say that, hey Akshat, why do you even advocate working in investment banking or management consulting? You should have advised us to work in non-profit organization. So today's video is going to focus on setting the right expectations of working in the social impact / non-profit space. Please give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me. It would indicate that you appreciate me making this type of content. Let's get this video started. So I'm going to cover 3 specific points on this video. One is that I'm going to give you an overview of the social impact / non-profit space, the entire landscape of jobs, what are good things, bad things of working across these jobs, especially if you're an Indian. Then we will take a look at the degrees and certificates that you need to work and carve out a career in the social impact space. And finally, I'm going to touch upon some of the key points that you need to remember if you are looking to build a career in the social impact domain. So first and foremost, you can pick up a job in social impact consulting. So these are organizations like Dalberg, FSG, Bridgespan. These are all social impact consulting organizations. You also have traditional management consulting firms like BCG, Bain, McKinsey that have a social impact practice. For example, BCG's social impact practice in India is doing a lot of work in India. They are doing high impact work. Similarly, Bain's social impact practice does a lot of work with the Indian government. Same goes for McKinsey. So the bottom line is that if you're looking to work in the social impact space, you can pick up a semi-business kind of a role while working with these social impact consulting organizations. I worked with Dalberg and there were a ton of things that I loved about working at Dalberg and there were a few things that I did not like about working at Dalberg. So let me share that quickly. So if you're working in the social impact management consulting space, the primary advantage, number one, is that you get trained really well, right? Because you are working with a traditional consulting firm, the amount of expenses that a firm undertakes to train you, it's massive. You end up learning a lot. For example, when I joined Dalberg, I was sent on a 2 weeks training in Turkey. So it was a fun learning experience. I got to meet a lot of people from different offices. It was an interesting learning experience. I got to learn about structured communication, problem solving, Excel building, whatnot, right? So a lot of good stuff in terms of training. That's one. Second, you end up picking business skills, right? Yes, you're working in the social impact space, but you also end up picking business skills. Now, this allows you to make good exits, right? So once people leave Dalberg or organizations like BCG Social Impact Practice, they have excellent exit opportunities in the business space as well. And there are a lot of roles, job opportunities, both globally and in India in the business space. Therefore, this type of work experience really helps you out. The third key advantage, I would say, is the global nature and the salaries involved. So Dalberg, for example, paid me around 2 lakh rupees a month when I started working there. In India, which is a decent salary, it is somewhat equivalent to what 80 Carney consultants get paid. So that's a good salary to begin your career with, especially in the social impact space, which is notorious for low salaries. So what was it that I did not enjoy about working at Dalberg? So the work-life balance can be off. So the amount of work that goes in each day, it's massive. So yes, you end up learning a lot. But the problem is that this is still a traditional management consulting job. And it's very demanding. I will leave the discussion there. Bottom line, the work-life balance is very, very hectic, right? So please keep that in mind. It's not as hectic as a traditional management consulting job or as hectic as an investment banking VC type of a job, but still it is quite hectic and that can be considered as a con of this particular career path. So now let's look at the second job, which is on the opposite end of the spectrum. So which are traditional social impact / non-profit jobs. So if in India, you're working with organizations like Make a Difference or Teach for India, these are traditional non-profit organizations. What is the primary advantage of working here? The primary advantage is that you actually get to see your work create palpable impact. What do I mean by that? So very simply put, if you're actually teaching a class of 60 students or 30 students at Teach for India, you're interacting with those students, you're creating a difference in their life, and you see that impact every single day. So the happiness that you get by undertaking that work, that itself is therapeutic, and that itself sort of elongates your life, so to say, right? So the bottom line is that according to me is the biggest perk and the biggest advantage of working with non-profit organizations, that you see the impact that your work is created, you feel happy about it. So you get that feeling that you're doing something good for the society. Now, the bad part about this work is that the salary structure are abysmally low. So you end up making very less salaries. Difficult for me to give you a number because it really depends from organization to organization, but the salaries are really low, and this is what people usually complain about when they are working in the social impact space, that hey Akshat, we love our work, the problem is that there is just no money. If I have to go and study abroad, how will I afford it? So you start having those kind of thoughts and discussions. So please keep this in mind, that if you are looking to work in a traditional non-profit setup, yes, the work will be amazing, but on the flip side, the monetary angle to it will be abysmally low. So another high-paying job in the social impact sector would be social impact investing. So there are organizations like Acumen, Leapfrog Investment, Avishkar Foundation. So they pay decent salaries, and the work that they do is also very impressive. So let me quickly explain the work that they do. So these are social impact investment funds. So they essentially scout for investors. So they go talk to investors, aggregate money. So they are pooling this bunch of resources and money, and then they deploy this money. They take this money and they start putting this money on social impact projects, the projects that are generating social returns. For example, it could be that they are helping female entrepreneurs, or it could be that they are helping farmers in some under-resourced area. This is the type of impactful work that impact funds actually do, and it is very fascinating work. Again, it relates to business. You get good training, similar to the way you will get good training at a management consulting firm. You get trained here really well, and from a perks point of view, the monetary compensation is also fine. It is not elite like investment banking, but still you make a decent amount of money. The downside again is the work-life balance, and another downside is that breaking into impact investing industry is very, very tough, because the number of roles in the impact investing domain are very few to begin with. Now the fourth job type here would be government jobs, and if you're working in India, there are essentially two routes through which you can get government jobs. One would be direct entry. So here you have to write exams like civil service examinations. You become IAS, IPS, IRS. So these are the type of roles that you can take if you clear the exams. On the flip side, there is another route to get into government jobs. This is called as lateral entry route. So, for example, there are many organizations like Invest India or Niti Aayog. These organizations hire people directly from their undergrad also, and hire them in a lateral entry position at consultants or associates, whatever they call it. So that is one route through which you can work with the Indian government directly. Now you might say that, hey Akshat, I have years of experience. Can I still work with the government? Yes, you can. If you have worked in the private sector space, there is something called as joint secretary level position. So if you have 8, 10, 15 years of experience, you can apply for this lateral entry position, and you will directly start working with Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Rural Development as a joint secretary, right? Of course, the quality of your work experience needs to be top notch, right? But the entry option here are always available to you. Now you might say that, okay, can you talk about the perks of government jobs? Yes. So first and foremost, what is the major perk? That your job is somewhat secure compared to corporate jobs. So that is definitely, that safety factor is there. Number two, the prestige factor is there, that you feel proud that, hey, I'm working and serving my country in a bureaucratic capacity. So that pride factor is there. What is the downside? I think money is one big downside. Now you might say that, you know what? No, Akshat. Government servants actually make insane amount of money. I have heard stories that even a peon working in a government office might be taking bribes worth crores. Agree, right? I'm not denying that. But the problem is this, that nowadays taking money in black, it's becoming bigger and bigger problem. If you take money in cash, then spending that becomes a massive pain point, right? It's not as if that you can send your kids to foreign education now, right? Now you can't do it. If you're only relying on black money, it will be tough. You can't even buy a car, right, with your black money. So the black money economy is actually being curtailed from that angle, right? So please keep that in mind. So I would still say that if you're an honest government official, then the pay is low, right? Pay is abysmally low from that perspective. Now I know that there will be some commenters on this video. They will say that, you know, Akshat, I have like a friend, he's an IAS. They get like so many facilities. I agree. And I'm not trying to discount that. Neither I'm trying to criticize the career path. It's a wonderful career path. But from a monetary perspective, just getting a house or just getting like a car, right, as a perk, honestly, it does not amount to much on monthly basis. That's what the financial analysis will tell you, right? So please keep this in mind that the money is bad, but the pride that you get by doing this job is massive. Now let's look at fifth and final career path, which is international non-profit management, or working with large multilateral organizations. So there are organizations like World Bank, ADB, they hire people at a young professional role or infrastructure development specialist role. These are excellent roles. They again are tied to pride, that you feel very proud that, I'm working at World Bank, Asian Development Bank. These are extremely prestigious jobs. These are international management jobs. For example, if you're working with the Indian government, then your context will mostly be India-centric, unless you are an Indian Foreign Service officer. But if you're working with World Bank, your context will be global. You will be looking at global problems or a particular region where you are assigned. So these jobs are excellent from a learning point of view also. So what are the cons of these multilateral organizations? They can be slightly more bureaucratic. Right? That's the problem. You might enjoy the work initially and then, there is nothing new to learn. You will get stuck and you will feel a little bit stifled. There are no new challenges coming up. So it becomes a slight problem from that respect. Let me also touch upon quickly about international non-profit organizations. For example, you have Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Health Access Initiative. These are large international non-profit organizations. They are solving global problems, right? Around healthcare management, education, etc., etc. These organizations are solving massive challenge. I feel that there is a lot of scope in terms of learning. If you're working with such organizations, you will get to learn a lot. That's the primary advantage. The disadvantage would be that again, you might get stuck in a particular industry where you don't like, be it education or healthcare. That might not be very good for your career. So if you like these career tips, do give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me. Let's move on to the next section. So now let's talk about the type of degrees you require to build a career in the social impact domain. Now, if you're an undergraduate candidate, you can come from literally any background and you can get any type of jobs that I explained on the previous section of the video. It's not a problem. You can be a science student, you can be a math student, you can be an engineer, you can be an English literature graduate. You can pursue literally any degree at an undergraduate level. It would not have any kind of disadvantage. You don't need to pursue a degree in non-profit management or social work, etc. You don't need any of that stuff. You can pursue any of those 5 jobs that I previously spoke about by pursuing any degree at an undergraduate level. Okay, now comes the master's level situation. You essentially do a master's degree for 2 reasons. One is to grow in your career. So let's say that you're already working in the social impact space and you want to grow your career in the social impact space, so you would do a master's degree. Or you want to change your field, right? So you're working in, let's say, investment banking and you want to change your industry to social impact consulting. You had a change of heart, so you're giving up your high flyer investment banking lifestyle and want to move into social impact consulting. So pursuing a master's degree might be very useful for you. So essentially, there are a few options that you can execute. You can, number 1, pursue an MPP, Masters in Public Policy. The primary disadvantage of Masters in Public Policy is that this is extremely niche degree, right? So if you graduate from Columbia SIPA, now that offers a degree in Masters in Public Policy, but the exit options for Indians will be very limited. Why? Because, it's not easy for Indians to carve out a career in public policy in the US. Because many jobs are federal in nature. Federal means that they are given only to US citizens. So it will be tough for you. You can't come back to India and join the bureaucracy, right? Because that is being populated by IAS, IPS and people who have cleared civil service examinations. So it becomes a problem. So therefore, if you pursue an MPP, your options get very limited. So that is a very important point for you to keep in mind. And this brings me to the second point, that if you're looking to pursue something like MPAID. So Harvard Kennedy offers an MPAID degree. It's a good degree, again the same problem, that the options for Indians are very limited. Which brings me to the third point, that you can actually pursue MBA as an option. I pursued an MBA. I started my career in the social impact space by joining Dalberg, right? MBA is a very valid and useful degree even if you want to pursue a career path in social impact. So it is not a problem at all. In fact, if you do an MBA, you are eligible to apply both for business related jobs and social impact jobs. You can go and work with organizations like Bridgespan, FSG, Dalberg, bunch of different organizations which are social impact organizations, but you can still get into those organizations by pursuing an MBA, right? So please keep that in mind. So to cut the long story short, undergrad, you can pursue any degree, it does not matter. At a graduate level or a master's level, do an MBA. That is what my push to you would be. Rather than pursuing degrees like MPP, MPAID, I'm not saying that MPP and MPA ID are bad degrees. It's just that they put you in a very niche space. So if you're not able to find a job or figure out a job in public policy, you will have a very hard time moving into the business space where there are many jobs for international applicants. This brings me to part 3 of the video where I'll speak about some important points about working in the non-profit space. So number 1 point is that if you want to work in the non-profit space, you must develop an interest in social impact, right? You can't go to Dalberg or you can't go to a World Bank YP interview, young professional interview, and if they ask you that, hey, can you please explain why are you interested in the social impact space? And if you don't have a good concrete answer on the fact that you have had prior experiences in the social impact space, that you have worked with non-profits, you have volunteered your time, you have done something for the community, you will have a very hard time convincing the interviewer that you genuinely want to work in the social impact space. So if you're in college or if you're a young professional, please volunteer with non-profit organizations or engage with the CSR, corporate social responsibility division of your firm. Do these basic things. That is very important. If you don't do it, it becomes a slight issue. So in essence, you need to outline your interest with proof that you are interested in the non-profit/social impact space. Second point is that you must be concerned about your exit options or exit opportunities. Exit options or exit opportunities, simply put, it means that if you work at Dalberg, then what type of next job you can get. So if you're working in social impact consulting, or if you're working in social impact investing, or if you're working with World Bank, IMF, etc., the exit options are good, right? You can even get into corporate work. That is not a problem. But if you're working with core non-profit organizations, and if it is not an international non-profit organization, sometimes it becomes a massive problem for you to switch to other industries, especially business-related things. If you would say that, hey Akshat, I'm working in a non-profit space, can I still move into business world? You can, but it will be slightly harder. So please focus on developing your business skill. Learn about Excel, learn about PowerPoints, learn about business communication, create your own portfolio, write on LinkedIn, bunch of different things that you can outline to highlight your interest in the business space. Okay, so please keep this exit option point in mind. This is very important in the social impact context. Number 3 are the opportunities in the social impact space. Now the social impact space is growing massively. It is growing massively and there is so much work, so much interesting work that is happening. For example, there is an organization called as ERI which wrote a white paper analyzing the CEO pay and the non-profit organization. And they figured out that the healthcare related non-profit organizations have started paying high salaries to their CEOs. So this is an indication that if you're looking to work in the social impact space and are looking to do good work, plus you're bothered about the monetary compensation, focus on something healthcare related in the non-profit space. Similarly, there are a lot of opportunities of fintech innovation happening at the ground level. A lot of innovation in the peer-to-peer lending space. All these are non-profit related activities and social impact work where impact would meet money. So these are sunrise sectors within the social impact space. So try to target these. You will have a fascinating career both in terms of impact and the type of money that you will make. So I hope you found this video to be enjoyable. So unfortunately, Zain had a very urgent meeting, so I had to leave for work. I'm just kidding. Zain left because his mom came. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up and let me know what type of videos you would like me to make. Thank you so much and I'll see you the next time.